Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. It's 1 month of Pahalgam Terror Attack where 26 innocent civilians were massacred by the dreaded terrorists. Investigative agencies still have no clue about the perpetrators and the hunt is still on. Now, there have been questions on strategic and diplomatic management. What has been the scale of the success of Operation Sindoor? What are the kind of losses which India has suffered? What will be the impact of the multi party delegation visiting various countries? And does this 1 month make PM Modi look stronger? And the biggest question, how will Kashmir return to normalcy? Because Pahalgam is the base from where the Amarnath Yatra begins in July. So, all these are questions which need an answer. But do we have an answer 1 month down the line? I don't know. And we'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me now is retired General Ashok Mehta. So thank you so much for joining. We have Wing Commander Anuma Acharya, who's also the spokesperson for the Congress. Thank you so much, Anumaji, for joining. And I'll begin with General Ashok Mehta. 1 month down the line, sir, how do you really see the things in terms of a lot of questions which still remain unanswered? And the biggest of it is, of course, where are those terrorists? You'll have to unmute. General Mehta, you'll have to unmute. Yes.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. The question topmost or uppermost is that while the NIA has said it is still investigating the four terrorists for the first time after any big, spectacular terrorist attack have not been accounted for, not traced, not a cent been left behind. But like Pakistan has made Asim Munir a field marshal, we in India have given an extension of 1 year to the IB chief. So that begs the question that what are you doing about this? Apparently nothing. Um, what is also interesting is that soon after the Pahalgam incident, two encounters have already taken place in Tral, Shopia, and as we speak, there's one currently ongoing in Kishtawar. So much about muscular policy of stopping cross-border terrorism that it's nothing has happened. Overall, I think while the it is clear that the Indian side, that we, our Indian Air Force, and the associated air defense assets and actions of the Navy in containing and marginalizing the Pakistan Navy to coastal defense, and the army largely confined to the line of control. I think we have scored both a moral and a political and a military victory, undeniable about that. As to your question about the losses, what have we gained in terms of um, victory? Of course, it's been registered, but our losses in combat are still unknown. But and we are unlikely to get to know what those losses are. But the question that requires to be answered is that our side has lost the battle completely, the battle of narratives, the so-called information war, the so-called gray zone war. Like in past engagements, And the Pakistanis are absolutely adept at this. They are helped by their iron brothers, the Chinese, in every respect, including gray zone warfare. Um, we have not been able to maintain the pace of seizing initiative over the narrative. So you almost get this impression of two different competing narratives in which the Pakistani narratives seems to have got the upper hand, and the victimhood fact appears to be slipping away from the Indian side towards Pakistan. Um, but the essentially, again, to your question about diplomacy, I think it is also clear that our diplomacy has not kept pace with the velocity of the military operations. The operations were so swift, so violent, and they also came to a surprisingly swift halt that our diplomacy really uh, could not keep pace with the progress of the operations, and we've had to send these various delegations. I think this government, the BJP government, is doing this for the first time during its third stint. It has never sent these diplomatic teams, which the UPA government,
Right,
during its term, it was a regular feature.
right,
On diplomacy, also, I'll make this last point that our contention that the I've heard some very distinguished diplomats in an interaction who have contended that there has been no internationalization of Kashmir, there's been no rehyphenation. I think that both those stands are untenable because both issues have happened. And as to the question of bilateralism, the US intervention, I mean, US intervention has become a matter of routine. Every single Indo Pakistan crisis from 1984 uh, when to 1986, 87, 1990, the Kashmir compound crisis, 19 Kargil, during Operation Parakram, during Balakot, and now, I mean, that it is inevitable, however hard you might try to divert that issue, that the Americans will come in, and this instance, and I'll close with this final remark, that in this instance, the although there was no nuclear signaling per se, although one new Pakistani minister said before the start of the actual exchange of violence that Pakistan will use every instrument, full spectrum of war uh, during this conflict, which includes the nuclear thing.
right,
In this instance, what the Americans noticed on night 9th, 10th in the morning was what the Americans call in their military lexicon as dynamic targeting. And dynamic targeting is movement of nuclear missiles. It is not clear who moved the missiles, but Pakistanis would have moved those missiles, nuclear assets. So would India have, and that was the trigger for the Americans to intervene. Still not clear who and why. How did the Pakistan DGMO, according to us, they
Yeah, in fact, Jeremeta, today, again, Donald Trump in the last 11 days, again, he's claimed credit for the brokering of peace between India and Pakistan for the eighth time, and which is what is become the central discussion point today since morning. I'll come to Tarun and then I'll come to Anumaji. The Tarun, what is the latest situation in Kashmir? When you talk about Pahalgam and the adjoining areas, how normal are the people after this Pahalgam attack? Because it's 1 month down the line, and in July you have the beginning of the Amarnath Yatra. Is Pahalgam actually ready to receive the tourists? Though we've heard that tourists have again started trickling in, but how will the administration make it secure? Is it really a challenge now for the security forces to make Pahalgam safe once again?
Yeah, Neetu, the coming Amarnath Yatra and the Mela Kheer Bhavani, which is starting in a couple of days from now, is a major challenge for security forces in the Kashmir region. Uh, I mean, there's a semblance of normalcy, but if you say there's a proper normalcy which has returned to the entire Jammu and Kashmir, that is not there. Tourism has just gone away from the not only from the Kashmir region but also from the Jammu region. In Kashmir region, the even Chief Minister just few days back said tourism is not our first priority. Our first priority is safe and secure Amarnath Yatra and the Kheer Bhavani. This reflects what is the state of mind is the of the administration and the security forces. Just 2 days back, Lieutenant Governor chaired the Unified Headquarters meeting, which was attended by all the top officials of army, security forces, and the intelligence agencies. So they are charting out a plan because this is a major challenge. And in past too, the Amarnath Yatris have been attacked. Even during the Mehbooba Mufti government, six Amarnath Yatris were killed. During 90s also, there was a major attack on the Amarnath Yatris. So it has been on their target. And secondly, if you look at in the backdrop of how the tourists were killed by the religious by profiling them on religious grounds that if you are a Hindu, we're going to kill you. So Amarnath Yatra is basically a Hindu Yatra. So that should be another concern for the security forces in Jammu and Kashmir. And secondly, if you come to the Jammu region, after the Pahalgam Yatra, then there was a 4-day India-Pakistan clash. There's still not, till now, the normalcy has not returned. Even the Yatra has dropped by about 60%. People are still scared to move out after in the evening because during summers, the if people you tend to move out after 7 or 7:30, but the markets start giving deserted look at about 8:30 until 9. The people from the border regions who have been uprooted, they were migrated. They do have returned to their original places, but still the fear is lingering. In Poonch, where about 19 people died, the highest casualty number, even the families were shattered. The schools have opened just 2 days back, but the attendance is very thin. So there's a sense of fear, apprehensions, what may come now, and tourism has been hit badly. Amarnath Yatra is a major challenge for the security forces. So the entire Jammu and Kashmir has been hit badly after April 2020, April 22nd on all accounts.
Also, the government had been claiming some a great normalcy after the abrogation of Article 370. Do we see the same kind of normalcy which was claimed by the government, or do you think that Kashmir almost looks deserted? How have the things really changed? I want to understand from you post Pahalgam with Kashmir and the people of Kashmir.
So, I mean, could you repeat your question? Are you saying that when you see the normalcy returning, is it your question?
Yes, I'm asking you that is normalcy really returning to Kashmir, because the government had been claiming post abrogation of Article 370 that now the footfall of the tourists is increasing, Kashmir is almost back to normal. So is it now limping towards normalcy? And how is the life with the people of Kashmir?
I mean, it's right to say it's limping back to normalcy, but it will take a time. The
Okay.
concept that terrorism is a thing of past, that has been shattered by all accounts. I mean, it was a naive of the government to suggest that the terrorism is a thing of past. It's a history now. I mean, the government should not have said it, because going by the past records of what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir in the last 30 years, and going by the mindset of our neighbor Pakistan, it will also devise some strategy to forward trouble. So terrorism is we are living with the terrorism, and it will continue to live with the terrorism. So to say that the terrorism is a thing of past was a quite naive thing, and not a wrong, right thing for the government to say. So the people of Jammu and Kashmir have been hit badly, as I said earlier also. People do urge for normalcy. The normalcy was there. I mean, post 2019, there's no denying the fact that normalcy was returning. Strikes and hartals and stone pelting were literally becoming in the radix of the going back into the history. The younger generation was not seeing. If it would have panned out a bit more, I mean, the younger Kashmiris and the people of Jammu would have said, okay, that's a thing of the past. We have not heard or lived through it. But now the old memories are coming back, and they are playing out again and again in the minds of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and that's not a good sign. And I think the government of India has to do some more things, some more security strategies have to be planned, how to counter, because this can also pan out in a bad narrative for the India. The normalcy which has been played out throughout the international forum, like the this G20 summit, like the Formula race car event happening in Srinagar, like the Umar Abdullah taking part in the marathon, which even Prime Minister Modi, I mean, congratulated him and wished him, I mean, praised him for these kinds of events. And then you will say the LG going on throughout the country. There's how the people are celebrating the nightlife along the Dal Lake and in Lal Chowk. But now that has to be worked out again and again, and it will take a lot of time. So this is what I said earlier, that post April 2022, JNK has been hit badly on all accounts.
All right. So you are saying that the state has been hit badly after the Pahalgam attack. Anumaji, now I'll coming to you. Your party has raised several questions, and Jairam Ramesh also raised a number of questions today, and your party has been raising several questions. But at the same time, you have sent your people as part of the multi-party delegation also. Now, if you look at this entire 1 month and the manner in which the government has conducted itself, or do you think that this 1 month has been satisfactory for you with Operation Sindoor and at least the narrative going out that the government has been able to attack the terror camps in Pakistan?
Uh, Good evening. I don't think this government has done anything because the diplomacy has failed miserably, and therefore all these 51 MPs have gone, maybe 51 and more people have gone to different places, and the optics are being shown that so and so's leadership, so and so has reached Japan, so and so has reached UAE. So that is just for optics. Nothing has, and this government's response has been far from satisfactory because they have neither been successful in catching those terrorists, nor they have shared any plan. Prime Minister escaped two of the all party meetings, and uh, Congress Party's national president Mallikarjun Kharge ji and Rahul Gandhi ji has been asking for a special session of parliament that has been denied. So nothing which we can see, and beyond that, they have gone to changing of headlines through name calling our armed forces officers, women officers like Sophia Qureshi. So this government is actually not done anything earlier also. So far, Mr. Jaishankar is concerned, he has compromised with our time, space, and quantum strategy of the armed forces. But what can we do? Because you see today how Mr. Modi, in such a cheap language of a C grade movie, he is saying that मोदी का दिमाग ठंडा है, मोदी के लहू में गरम सिंदूर है. I don't know what all he is talking. I mean, it's so shameful when a prime minister talks in such a language, and it really carries no meaning because
No, but
the
Anubaji, let's if you keep aside the language bit, because the language is a problem with Vijay Shah and with several other BJP leaders. But if you keep the language aside and the way the government has tried to turn the narrative in its favor, would you not say that this was a smart move on the part of the government? Now they've been able to tell the world, or they will tell the world, that look, we have opposition members from all religions, all classes, as part of the multi party delegation. They will now speak on behalf of India and not speak on behalf of their party. So that was a smart move, many would say. And what did opposition lack somewhere in raising the issues during this 1 month?
No, I don't think so. This time, Narendra Modi ji is blowing the trumpet through their media channels. But actually, on ground, situation is different. Like today, I was talking to a hardcore RSS guy who is from my childhood friends. So this guy, when I told him, he was like kind of so upset. He said, "You come to this place, and I, in front of everyone, I'm going to join Congress." Not that he's a very political person. No, he's not, but he is a hardcore groomed in the Sangh ideology for good total, I think, 30 years. This guy is I mean, unhappy. So you can see they have tried their level best. They have been successful in putting, say, about lakhs of hoardings across India, a lakhs of hoardings. You see any bus stand, it is there. Operation Sindoor. You see airport, every airport, at least two to three standees of big hoardings are there in the about Operation Sindoor. Similarly, on every petrol pump I have seen, every bus stand, every railway station, every ticket, they have done the best they can do. But actually, their narrative has failed this time because the very message that they have declared ceasefire, and that too on directions of Trump, or perhaps a threat from Trump. So people have understood. The entire Godi media is running those campaigns, but it is just not affecting people because people have understood this game. At the same time, because their imprint is phenomenal, like in lakhs of WhatsApp groups, consistently they are sending. So the people who are actual andhbhakts, they are only getting influenced. Rest everybody and majority of India has understood their gimmick.
Okay, I'll come to General Mehta now. General Mehta, now what would you really say? Some few answers we still haven't got, and I mean we don't know whether those answers we will ever get, as to what was the number of casualties on our side, what is the number of aircrafts which were downed on our side, and now with S. Shankar and the foreign minister saying that we had sent out a message to Pakistan that we will attack only the terror camps and not the military installations. So, do you think that the government has really come out uh, of that narrative which they tried to build and what it turned out to be? Uh, how will the things change from all what the government has said, and now people don't seem to believe too much in what they are saying?
Well, on casualties, the government has given out human casualties because those cannot be concealed. I think 17 or 18, I forget the figures. They have given the military casualties, soldiers killed, paramilitary killed. Uh, Jammu and Kashmir figures have been given out. So those have been given out. What we don't know is combat losses of equipment, and because that's a big money loss. Uh, but I think the central theme now is on diplomacy and how much can diplomacy turn the tide in India's favor. Because as of today, from all by all accounts, India has been supported very clearly only by one country, and that is Israel. And you know, what Israel is doing itself, I mean, that's not a very good country support. And what amazes me is that with what the kind of brutality with which these operations have been carried out in Gaza, the government of India has kept completely silent, not a word. I don't know what this transformation in Buddha and Yuddha has done to India. The other question is that the global attention, uh, the span is very limited. So once the ceasefire and the nuclear crisis was called off, the attention has shifted from India to, as I mentioned, Gaza. I mean, that and with what's going to happen, the new offensive and Ukraine. So the global attention has shifted to trade talks, etc. Uh, India will certainly try to portray itself, its actions as what it has consistently said as very proportionate, very responsible, uh, non escalatory, and that we informed Pakistan in this instance at the start of the operation that we are targeting only the terrorist infrastructure. But subsequently, the thing spiraled out. How much they'll be able to convince these countries is another matter. The real thing will start, according to me, in July when Pakistan holds the presidency of the UNSC, that's the Security Council, for 1 month. They will go out of their way to bring Kashmir into some kind of discussion because Kashmir is central to Pakistan. The whole operation that they launched was in order to revive the Kashmir issue. Pakistan Prime Minister uh, has said to reporters today that talks are likely to be held. They will be held on, this is Pakistan Prime Minister speaking, talks will be held on water, on trade, on terrorism, and Kashmir, these four subjects. Our Prime Minister has said that we will only talk about terror and about Pakistan occupied Kashmir being returned to us. But yeah, let me just return and to that point about diplomacy, about where India stands today. And I said only Israel was has come out in full support. No other country in the neighborhood included has unequivocally come out in support of the actions that India has taken in its military operations in Pakistan. They have condemned the act of terror, they have not condemned Pakistan. They have not attributed this to Pakistan. Not a single country in the neighborhood, nowhere else. To the right side, Pakistan has Turkey, Pakistan has China. These are these are iron brothers now. And some of the Western countries are clear in their mind. They will not Pakistan go down, go under, because Pakistan is still a very important country for the West in relation. It's at the crossroads, West Asia, very close to Central Asia, which has all the resources, Afghanistan, and so that is one worry I have that India has not been able to gather that momentum. And had we apprehended those four terrorists who perpetrated this act and shown it to the world that here you are, uh, this guy is born in Quetta, or he is born in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, wherever. We had to establish, as the Prime Minister had said, we must locate, identify, and destroy these terrorists and hunt them down till the end of the earth. 20 lakhs bounty was put on this, on them. So what happened? The NI is still struggling. So these questions will
Absolutely.
remain, and it would have been a lot better for India and its diplomacy if they had this in their hands, proof uh, of non-deniability that Pakistan frequently and always uses that, well, we haven't done it. Let's do a joint probe, which
Absolutely.
again, but I mean, most of us know that the signature on these terrorist attacks comes from Pakistan. But this is a legal situation. When you go to the United Nations, they want proof, and so they don't go on past incidents
True.
or reputation of the country as being the epicenter of terrorism. That doesn't work. So let's wait for July, and let's see how these our diplomacy in fanning out these teams works.
Right. No, but
But
as you said, July will be a test case. But Tarun, what is the latest position as far as the deployment of security is concerned in Kashmir? Has the deployment been beefed up as far as Pahalgam is concerned? What about the adjoining areas? Because still there is firing. Some firing is almost happening on a daily basis. So, do you think that the time is ripe for the Amarnath Yatra to begin? I mean, how would people really venture into the yatra? Because there is an apprehension that what if there is another attack, and that's a feeling and that's a fear which is lurking always. Yes, Tarun.
So, I mean, you were asking me if, what are the apprehensions of the people and how the security situation is there along with
Yes,
Jammu and
the
Kashmir. Is it what
deployment
you
of
are asking?
security. The deployment of security.
Yeah, post the Pahalgam attack and after this build-up was there along the border, which resulted in 4-day clash between India and Pakistan. Security forces have been army, BSF, and other security forces. They have been moved up to the border, and the result we saw during the 4 days. As far as my understanding and the information is concerned, the army and the security personnel, they have not been moved back. They're still on the front, right from international border to the LOC. Because of their presence, there's a atmosphere of tension all along the border. And because of what happened on Pahalgam and yes, today itself there was an encounter in Kishtwar, which is a remote area of Jammu region, and security forces apprehend there might be a spike in terrorist activities. So that is the reason the security grid is being strengthened. Additional deployments are being made. Earlier, the RR was moved out. If you remember, about 2 months back, there was a terrorist attack in Basoli area where we suffered heavy casualties. About 4 security personnel died. From that area, the RR was moved, and from the Jammu region also, army was moved because of the Galwan crisis. Now that void is being filled up again. So that reflects what is playing out in the mind of the security apparatus. And in Kashmir, the coming 2 or 3 months are very crucial. One or two factors we have to factor in. First, the snow will start melting. That is the time when the infiltration starts. That's a traditional kind of a thing. Security forces are always on alert. But post Pahalgam and post Indo-Pakistan clash, and if you go back by the statements of Jaish Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Al Qaeda, Ghazwa Hind, and Jamaitu Islamia, they all have vowed avenge. So that reflects they are planning to strike big in Jammu and Kashmir, not only in Jammu and Kashmir but across India also. So that reflects how fragile and how tense the situation is there. This is a testing time for our security forces and intelligence agencies, especially because if we see, God forbid, if we see another attack happening, that will be a very, very tough thing for the government of India to handle, especially given the backdrop of what the PM Modi has already pledged. Any terror attack will face the same retaliatory action. And that means that we are living in a very tense situation. God forbids it doesn't happen. It's a task for our security forces and intelligence agencies to take, and we have to factor in the rhetoric and the religious card Asim Munir is playing that also have to be factored in. And he has recently given him promotion himself, making him the field marshal. So something is playing out. And lastly, I would like to tell you that in February, there was a conference of Jaish Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, and also of the Hamas leadership in POK. So after that, the Pahalgam attack has happened. We know what is happening in Gaza. We know how the Pakistan is playing this card across the at the international forum. So these are testing times. So I fear something may happen. So this is what I'm saying.
Okay, so Anwajit, concluding comments from you that at the end of 1 month, how do you look at this period politically and in terms of the military operations, both? Uh, would you say that we can rest in peace because the government has handled things the way it should have? What would you say? I mean, to this entire 1 month after the Pahalgam attack?
We all are waiting only for those terrorists to be either caught alive, and I will more plead for they should be caught alive. But government of the day is perhaps not interested in that. I have been watching all the television. There are these, as I said, optics of our different MPs are going to this and that country. Basically, they are flag bearers of our failed diplomacy. I'm so sorry to say that. At the same time, we are also from Congress. We are going to 16 places in the last week of May, and we are going to awaken and tell people, communicate that as to why the BJP, which is boasting and uh, talking about their victory, they are basically riding on the shoulders of our armed forces, but actually they have not done enough. Also, what all the parties wanted from the government of the day, and they have not done it. So that campaign we are running, that campaign will be across India, across all the states, and then at the district level also. Basically, it's a communication uh, um, mission to communicate people of India. And of course, now we know that even small townships and villages people have understood BJP. At the same time, we really feel very sorry for those 26 families or 28 families who have lost their loved ones, and they have actually not got any remedy other than simple optics. That's what I have to say. Whereas I firmly believe that the armed forces have completed the mission assigned to them. At the same time, the political leadership was a miserable failure.
Right. So let's see how things unfold in the coming days. Will we get answers to those unanswered questions? Time will, I think, only tell, but we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Anuma Acharya, retired General Ashok Mehta. Tarun, thank you so much for joining.